G'day ladies and gentlemen, it's Phil here. We're going to bring you some Heart of the Swarm action today. It is going to be a PvZ. We're going to be featuring the new recruit to Team Root. He's going to be starting up at the top right hand side of Daybreak. Here is our Blue Protoss player. It is ROOTSucceed. Of course, just recently joining the team. It was announced a little while back on the Root Gaming website, of course picked up by Cats, flown straight over to the Root headquarters and has been training up quite nicely there. Has been streaming a little. You can find him on ROOTSucceed on Twitch. He's also on Twitter and all those cool things. He's I've had a look through some of his recent replays that he's released, and he's a very interesting Protoss. He plays a very interesting style where it's greedy in a way, and then it's also very tech greedy as well as being economically greedy at the same time, but he's able to augment that with some really fantastic scouting, particularly with hallucinations, these kinds of things, and keeps an eye on exactly what his opponent is up to. So he's going to start out, as we can see, probably just a gateway inside the main there. His opponent down at the bottom left-hand side as our Red Zerg player is JuanMD, who I believe, thanks to Roland Thunder on Twitter, who suggested this to me, that this is probably Vortex. So we'll have, yeah, I'm pretty sure it is Vortex, but, you know, I'm not 100%. And we'll have him down here, of course, as our Red Zerg player, looking to get a fast expansion down, but probably, well, he has to start off that pool pretty quickly because the probe is already down here from Succeed, and these guys are going to have a little battle. So, of course, Heart of the Swarm PvZ, interesting matchup where things have changed quite a lot. Previously in Wings of Liberty, of course, you get to a late game stage and things can get a little bit frustrating for Protoss players, especially on this map. A lot of players talk about the ability to split map on this particular you know, when you do get to the late game stage, of course, putting up like a wall of spine crawlers and spores if need be. If there's a lot of Protoss air presence there, you may need a lot of spores, and you know, it's something that it can be really difficult to deal with. So I'll be really interested to see how this game goes because, you know, in Heart of the Swarm, of course, you've got the Tempest, which can help break down Broodlord lines, and then you've also got, you know, the new Void Rays that can deal with Corruptors and Broodlords and all those kinds of things, the armored units that get blasted down by Void Rays now. So, you know, it'll be good to see how this goes. And interestingly, from Succeed, yet again, as in the previous game that I did a cast of him, actually has a cyber down as part of the wall at the natural, which is not something you see every day. Now, this is the part of Succeed that is really intriguing to me as both a Protoss player and as a commentator as well. It's that he is freely probing up inside the main. We're up to 23 probes right now, but he is still going to expand. And look at this. This is like some weird sort of wall off we've got right now, where the you know, you've got your pylon, your cyber, and then a pylon here, and the Zealot seems to think that this wall off has been finished up, but we all know it actually hasn't just yet. So we will probably see, I'm assuming it's going to be a Stargate from Succeed, couple of Ling, well, just one Ling just about to poke through, and the Stargate will go up just in time to protect this position here. And so it is going to be effectively, it's a Stargate expansion from Succeed, but he's you know, he's protected this natural, so there can't be any annoying things to come out too quickly. And he's even going to get this Nexus down, as we can see, just popping up to 400 minerals now. Throws the Nexus down, and it will be expanding pretty quickly there. So the you know, we'll have a look at, not that one, the work account there. It is up at 26 harvesters for JuanMD right now. And we'll see, you know, is he going to take that third pretty quickly? Of course, you know, when you're dealing with a Protoss player who has gone for a gateway in the main, and then of course that very quick cybernetics core, this particular tech here, the warp gate tech, which is almost already done, is something that is very threatening, and you do have to be very careful of that, because, you know, you can't take a third too quickly as you normally would in PvZ when a Protoss is fast expanded with a forge, because they've got this tech out so fast. The 4 gate at that very sort of quick timing there, around about 7 minutes, just after 7 minutes, can be extremely deadly. And you know, if you're unprepared for that, like if you did go for a very quick third expansion, then it can be something that can catch you off guard. So you have to be aware that that kind of thing can happen, which is why we have seen that he has not gone for the quick expansion. We've seen him get the gas quickly so that his speed is now done. Lair is on the way along with gases 2, 3, and 4. So he's going to go up to a reasonably high gas count right now, is our our good friend, I said Vortex, I believe it is, and we'll just call him Vortex, and if I'm wrong, then oh well, but I'm pretty sure that I am right in that case. But Succeed, behind all of this, look at this, one gate, Stargate, and then Robo Gate. He's just gone straight up into that tech path there, allowing himself lots of options here. He's scouted through into the main base of the Zerg player, sees that, you know, reasonably quickly done lair there. He didn't actually get down towards the natural to see that the extra 3 and 4 gases were taken, but it is going to be an infestation pit here from Vortex. I believe that this is just going to be a 2-base Nidus play with the Swarm host coming out pretty quickly as well. Looks like there is going to be a Phoenix that's going to poke through. This guy is probably going to see that the yep, yes he does. He sees the infestation pit there. He's going to see those extra gases as well. Sees both, yes he does. And this is going to be a point where Succeed is going to be like, alright, there is something a little bit fishy going on. You know, I'm going to have to get some observers out, as we can see here. Going to get 2 of those cranked out. Robo Bay is also on the way, a good response to the Swarm host, because, you know, if you're able to get a couple of Colossi out, then you can help deal with the locusts on the ground. The interesting thing about that is that until you have like a critical mass of Colossi, then they're actually not like the greatest way to deal with Swarm hosts, because even with you know 2, sometimes even 3, depending on how many Swarm hosts are being picked up by the Zerg player, you can actually have quite a lot of trouble burning down those Swarm hosts before they take down your Colossi. So he does have a Void Ray out to try and deal with that kind of threat as well. Looks like he is going to poke down here to the 3rd base. Going to be putting down a couple of pylons to make sure that this is all protected. And this is actually something I did see Succeed doing in a previous game. He puts the wall very far out, like with a couple of cannons here. Not the normal sort of setup that most Protoss players have, where they've got their Nexus. A lot of people these days like to wall off just to the side here, and of course just down in this position as well. But I think we saw a Nidus Worm has been produced. There it is, just down at the back, loading that up with some Swarm hosts, and there we go. It is going to be down at the 3rd base here. It looks like he should be able to get this going, and this is completely undetected. Where is he? Oh, it wasn't an Overlord, it was Zergling that put that down. That is the most interesting little position there. That was able to get out freely. A couple of Queens now bursting out. The Swarm host also going to burrow as well, putting down a couple of creep tumors. We need to get this creep spread started. This helps in 2 ways. Number 1, it's going to block the 3rd base, and of course it allows the locusts to move around a lot quicker. So these little guys here, of course, they do 12 damage per shot, range of 3, and you know they can be quite frustrating to deal with as a Protoss player. Of course, you really want to get across here and try and take down these Swarm hosts before they can siege up your base and just slowly whittle away at your defenses. But with you know, as we said before, with just 1 Colossus, that's not going to happen. With 3 Void Rays, probably not going to happen, given that there are 6 Queens here, which is, you know, that's quite a lot of Queens to deal with. And as we can see, Void Rays will come about. Of course, they do have their prismatic alignment. Unfortunately, that does not affect the Queens. If that did do the extra damage to Queens, then yeah, you can probably take this out pretty quickly. But no can do at the moment, so Vortex is going to push in. Meanwhile, back at home for Succeed, got a couple more gates coming up. There is still a Colossi on the way, along with Extended Thermal Lance. That's really going to help out with dealing with these locusts. But, you know, at the moment, he's going to be stuck here for 2 bases. Of course, back at home for Vortex, he's going up to a 3rd base here, going to pick up the extra gases, 5 and 6 as well. And slowly but surely, as we said before, the locusts just slowly whittle away at the Protoss defenses here. Of course, slowly burning through the shields and then the health of those Colossi. A Time Warp here from Succeed, a very nice way to try and slow them down, but you know, they just keep coming, and there's no stopping these units as they slowly make their way up. Of course, the Swarm host is able to help out with just continually producing these. The Void Ray count is something which I'm a little bit surprised about. Succeed has sort of stopped at 4 for the moment. I'm not sure if that's just what he wanted to do, or if he's just sort of a little bit busy with microing up. But the Void Rays trying to do their best to deal with these units here. The Swarm host slowly coming up, some of them burrowed at the back, but here comes the counter attack around the side. A couple of Colossi with some force field assistance will be able to take down some of those Swarm hosts, but they have moved up in position up to the top of the ramp. A couple of force fields here as well, also helping to deal with that. And well, we do see the Vortex is going to lose some of these Swarm hosts, but he's taken down the front door of Succeed. You know, we could see perhaps some of the units just try and maybe like some large link production or something like that come along from him, and it could try and take advantage of this. But of course with the Colossi there, that is not going to do too well, and it looks like the Void Rays have been cut down in their numbers. But I mean, when you've dealt with this this force already, that means that you've held back for the moment. And as we can see, Succeed sitting at 122 supply, 91 for Vortex right now, and it looks like the creep is going to get cleared out, allowing Succeed to take a third base there if he wants to. But of course, you don't want to wait too long. You want to get the base up and running as quickly as possible. We've got a Nexus going up inside what is normally the fourth base for a Protoss player. And now this is an interesting point of these sort of two base Nidus Swarm Host plays, is that Protoss, a lot of the Protoss players will be forced to make a lot of Colossi. Now, as we said, these guys relatively good at dealing with the Swarm Host once they get into a critical mass, around about that 4, sort of 5 mark, depending on how many Swarm Hosts are around and what defenses are available. And this also forces the Zerg play to go into a lot of Corruptors, which we can see here. Now, the Corruptors have done a very crippling blow there to those Colossi, taking down 3 of them. It looks like a Void Ray is also going to go down as well. One of the 2 remaining Colossi going to get away for the time being. But this puts the Protoss in a position where they say, alright, well, now I've got these Colossi, it's time to actually get some damage done. So, with the Observer that's been scouting out what's going on, Succeed knows that he is able to push into this base here, of course, with a proxy pylon here to provide reinforcements as well. The Mothership Core also going to come about. She may be able to throw down the Time Warp, or perhaps a recall if things get a little bit too hairy. And now we see the battle commence with Vortex getting a little bit caught out of position here. The Corruptors, however, are able to deal with the Void Ray and the Colossus that were up in the sky. But here we go. Vortex is forced to pull some of the drones there, just threatening that he might get us around on the Stalkers, and then perhaps they would be in a bit of trouble. And, you know, with the Infestors gone that Vortex had, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble now. These Stalkers are going to do a ridiculous amount of damage, and behind all of this, of course, the third base of Succeed is going to get up. His worker count is looking relatively good right now, 58 workers to the 66 of Vortex, and with, well, it actually, that's really cool. I'm glad to see that people are doing this a little bit more, throwing down corruption on some of those Stalkers, and it looks like despite that, Succeed's still going to push back. He's got really not too much that he needs to deal with now, just a few Roaches, a Queen or 2, and then those Corruptors up in the sky. But the upgrades are looking good for Succeed right now, 101. Meanwhile for Vortex sitting at 0-0. So he's going to have a little bit of a troublesome spot here dealing with this attack that is just continuing to come in. Of course, all of these gates back home, at least 8 gates in total. Yeah, just 8 gates for Succeed right now. But of course, he is able to get started on some extra production. He's taken down this third hatchery here, which is very nice for him. And he's going to be sitting in quite a very happy and fun position right now. Is our Protoss player from Team Root. Going to have a quick look at the front door here of the Natural. Of course, you know, not too much to defend here. We've got some Hydras that have been added into the mix. We got these Roaches still here as well, along with some of the Corruptors up in the sky. I don't think Succeed is going to be able to really push in just yet. But he is going to augment his forces with probably some more Sky units very soon. Of course, a lot of players loving to use that Sky Toss style. Succeed, however, has started off with some Immortals that are going to come out. Of course, they're going to be doing a ridiculous amount of damage to Roaches. 55 against armored units. Their +2 weapons is also on the way. And Succeed, he's going to sit back. He said, alright, we've taken care of your third base. You don't have that income anymore. You don't have that production anymore. So I'm going to sit back, going to make sure my economy is stable. I'm going to even look to get a 4th base as well, and really cement the lead right now, because at the moment, you know, the supply does have a Vortex in front by a little bit, but I mean, there's Zerg units against these Protoss units that have very decent upgrades. So Vortex needs to he needs to definitely get in a position where he can win a battle very easily here, because with this kind of supply lead, it's not going to be very easy to strike a big blow against your opponent. And it looks like some Zealots will make their way into the third base, trying to hack down down some of those drones, but unfortunately not able to get too much done. Queens, Hydras, and Roaches coming to the aid of that base, but while this is all going on, this army still continues to grow. +2 to weapons is almost complete. We've got Blink also on the way. There are still Immortals coming out from Succeed right now. I'm still wondering if he's going to start picking up some more Void Rays. Of course, Void Rays are a very popular unit in this particular matchup. As we said before, they do really good damage against armored units, and also they are quite capable of dealing with the Corruptors up in the sky as well. So we'll see what Succeed is going to add. Is that a second forge? Yes, I think it is. So he is going to continue to really boost up those upgrades as quickly as he can. Just keep himself in that lead, and if he can do that, then, you know, he's sitting wonderfully right now. Wow, Vortex has only just started on melee attacks 1 and Carapace 1 as well. He's going to try and push into this base here. There is a singular Colossus which goes down quick smart, but the Hydras and Roaches have been beautifully force fielded out by Succeed, just cutting the army in half. The Stalkers and the Zealots able to go to town, all the units that were trapped outside. And, well, that puts Succeed up at, well, pretty much a supply lead right now. There it is, 175, with Archons being thrown into the mix. Storm being researched as well, along with +2 to weapons and armor, and then weapons level 3 is also coming about. So Succeed in a magnificent position right now. He's up at 179 supply, going to continue to bring out some of those mainly gateway units. No Colossi or the Sky units just as of yet, but you know, I don't even think he needs to right now. The Broodlords are not going to be a threat for quite a while, of course, because Vortex has had quite a lot of trouble establishing this third base. His fourth is only just going up now, but it looks like we will have another attack. These Corruptors up in the air, not doing a single useful thing apart from throwing down some corruption. The Hydras and the Roaches, well, there are no Roaches, there they are. Some of the Roaches finally coming across, but with the Zealots at the front, a couple of Templar now coming into the mix. They may throw down a Storm or two in a second. It is ready to go, but no Storm just as of yet. He looks like he is going to save it, and Vortex is forced to tap out. He just does not have the tech, he does not have the production or anything to keep up with this Protoss powerhouse Succeed. A very nice game from him. Nice deflection of the Swarm Host attack at the early part of the game. Dealt with that relatively well. I think he only really lost the Cyber Core and, you know, a couple of pylons at the front and maybe a couple of units, but that was about it. So he comes back and is able to take down this game. Very nice play from the new Root Recruit. And I hope you all enjoyed that match, and I'll catch you all next time. Cheers. Can he deal with all of these Vikings, all of these Thors that are now starting to come out? We see the Thor count just continuing to grow, 2 at a time, 3 at a time. Sort of depends on how many minerals good he has.